does the woman described in Proverbs 31, verse 24 specifically, help bring in money for the family? There's a couple of verses in Proverbs 31 that, under the virtuous wife section, do describe things that could be connected to income. So she seeks wool and flax and willingly works with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. She also rides as wild as yet night and provides food for her household. She considers a field and buys it from her profits. She plants a vineyard. Now, your question is, does that mean you got to make money as a woman? I'm saying that's not what that means. It's not even close to what that means. Does God's providing of daily bread mean you both have to get jobs? No. It's true that if you both had jobs, daily bread would be coming from both incomes. So it's not like it's not true. But the question that's your fear, I would counsel you can just dismiss. Like that is, you're doing what I do and mentioned I do at the very start of the show. You are acting like God's up there just waiting for you to do it wrong so he can smack you. Which is not really what he's about. What he's about is straight up blessing you. Okay? Now, that blessing might come with suffering. It might come with a lot less than you want or think. It might come with it being so tight that it's like you got to move. I don't know, because I don't know your finances. But I know this. Here's what I know. You never get that time back. You get one shot at each baby. And you can outsource, and the kid will probably live. The time you're going to miss is priceless. There is no cost you can put on it. There's no value to it. So the kid will live, but you will have sold a priceless thing for daily bread that you probably were going to have anyway. So, again, I want to let you kind of go at this one, but I want to be very clear. Like, both of your questions are asking, are there these biblical reasons where I have to go and get a job? And the answer is no. No. Guys should get a second job if you can. You've cut everything you can. Yeah, we live in crazy hard times. Maybe you got to do this. Maybe you have no choice. Maybe the decisions in life have made it so there is not another option. Just like we told Sadie, like, you're not going to go to hell for this. Okay. But you're losing a priceless thing. And I don't want to lie to you about that. Having been through this without it being direct, like, we didn't make that decision. We made the one to stay home. It's a priceless thing. Yeah.
And it was a decision to stay home right from the beginning. And so we went at it with the understanding that we're not going to get vacation. We're not going to buy so I buy my winter clothes now when they're on super clearance or at the Goodwill. You know, like, you just, you have to be creative. And it sounds like you are. So I guess I'm not necessarily speaking directly to you, but just to others who are listening in. How do you do it on one income? We have a family cell phone. We have no vacations, like literally no vacations. Yeah. So, and we call trips, certain types of trips, vacations, but they're not. Mm-hmm. You don't eat out. It's crazy how the typical American lifestyle is exceedingly expensive. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have to be. Like, if you cook a chicken, you can get several meals out of it. Mm-hmm. By just using every inch of it.
Bone broth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bone broth at the end, it's bone broth. I just know that, like my husband said, those days, that time is irreplaceable, and it's so short, so absolutely short. And technically it lasts until they get married. Like
it does.
They do need
it does.
you there.
But that first
the
3
whole
years,
time.
I mean, the daycare side where you're just putting them in a chair for most of the day, where they maybe even are making them wear a mask, depending on what state you're in still. So the formation of human engagement is like, do you want someone else teaching your child how they're going to behave the rest of their life? Because that first 3 years is a huge part of it. And so...
And I liked your suggestion that the husband really, this is time for you to step up, husband. And
if it's that necessary.
And know that, okay, you don't get a day off for these next 3 years. Like, unfortunately. And that's hard on your relationship too, because carving out time to be together and to stay unified is going to be tricky. But it's important to work together in that way, to have your husband be the provider and to have you be the one caring for the family, the children, the home. And that means, a lot of how we've done it, we talked about it a little bit this morning, is, Jonathan, your focus is being the breadwinner and providing, and whatever that means. Sometimes that means going to bed early. While I stay up and clean up the dishes from dinner. But it means that is his focus and that's his priority for the family. And my priority is then to pick up the rest of it. So if we need to go to the post office, I go. If we need to get groceries, I go get the groceries. If there's a spot on the floor, I clean it up. It's managing the home. And Katie Luther is a good example of a godly woman doing that. I like to think of her the way she was described in Kitty My Rib as
book rec.
Yeah, as being this woman who she just did what needed to be done at the home. And it didn't mean that she she did have servants that helped her, but she managed them. She was alongside of the gardener in the garden. She was in the kitchen with the cook. It wasn't just that she was sitting around ordering people to do what she needed to have done. And I think that that's the woman that's described in Proverbs 31. Now, we must remember when we go to Proverbs 31 that this is who we are in Christ already. So it's not a list of to-dos and to-don'ts. It's a list of who you are in Christ's eyes because of what he has done for you in your baptism. So you can just read it and rest assured and know, done in Christ. But what the woman that's described there is a woman who is working alongside of all those in her life to better them and the community around her. And that's what you're doing when you raise your children.
Yeah. So it's worth the risk. It's worth the risk is what I would say. Even what he has that will be taken from him, he who has more will be given. If you will not be faithful with small things, who's going to make you faithful in big things? It's not to say that going to get a job would be unfaithful, but if you decide to say, I know God gave me this child, we believe it's good to raise this child. You said that. You both believe this. We're going to do it and trust it'll work out. Then it's going to work out. I'm racking my brain like, okay, so what if we found ourselves in a scenario where we really had to ask this question because we're not wealthy, we're not poor, we're where we are.
So say you died.
Right.
That's been something that's happened. Like,
I'm thinking
I thought, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think you'd be better off actually. But I'd go down to fewer cars. I would not ever buy a new car. I would buy only cheap used cars. Strictly for getting to and from work, we would basically not go anywhere other than to and from work. So the car exists simply to go make money. It's the only thing it's for.
And groceries.
Groceries, yeah. Groceries would be rationed. I would ration food. We would stay carnivore, but there would be no hot sauce, no onions, Right? I mean, we would just ration food. Like, here's your meat, here's your fish, here we go. That's all you get. Here's your vitamin C drink. I'd probably keep it right at that. But there would be a certain amount. And it's like, well, I'm still hungry. Yep. Here's mine. And second job. I mean, hi, how you doing? This is my second job. I would do that too. I would, if my second job did not involve the internet, I would cut off the internet. Mm-hmm. I just stopped paying that $100 a month, which it often is. Yeah, it is to get the speed for this, by the way. So, I'd just stop. I'd be done. I'd get rid of the cell phone unless it was for work. And then I'd be like, hey, work, you want me to have a cell phone, right? I can't afford it. Would keep the heat and the electricity, but I'd manage that more. I mean, we'd be sleeping on hot nights. It'd be hot in the house in the summer. Windows would be open. And I mean, it just every place that there is, I would sacrifice what needed to be sacrificed in order to do what I believed was good. And in this case, I cannot imagine a greater gift to give to a child than a present mother. Mm-hmm. And I say that with a very personal and deep abiding pain as well.